Hello, my absolutely beautiful Aries friends, and welcome to your horoscope for September of 2023, where Aries, this energetically is really truly a big month. You guys know I'm not about giving you these shop now, bargain now, best week ever kind of titles. So when I'm telling you we are in the space of serious energy, I really mean it. And Aries, this month is not only a big deal because we are coming into the space of the eclipse energy. We're about 6 weeks out. We're going to have these eclipses happening in October. So right now the energy is starting to rev up. But what I love more about the energy and why I think it's such a big deal for you is so much of the work that you've been doing, so many of the things that have kind of been percolating and coming back and they've been in review. We've got planets coming direct this month, giving us an indicator that it's actually time to move those things forward. You're coming out of this season with a little bit more clarity. Not to mention, we've got Jupiter turning retrograde in the energy of Taurus, and this is nothing but good news because what it will actually enable you to do is expand inward, especially if your Jupiter is direct in your natal chart. Then this is a time where you can come inward while everything else you have processed is ready to go in an outward way. So it creates this really beautiful balance. And speaking of balance, we've got the sun coming into the energy of Libra. So genuinely, in your relationships or the things that have been a little wonky, they're going to get some rebalancing this month. And I can only tell you that I freaking love it for you. I freaking love it. Okay, Aries, let's get in here and take a look at what is going on. First and foremost, I do want you to keep in mind that truly, energetically, like even as you are listening to this forecast or maybe sometime after, Aries, a really great thing for you to do is stop. I want you to close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, put your other hand on your belly, feel your feet grounded into the floor, and notice the sensation and the vibration in your own body, the vibration in the room around you, because we are shifting into the eclipse vibration. Something is rising through and to you in a conscious way to be shifted, to be brought to a realization, and it is going to play out not only over the next 6 months, but in this 6 weeks leading up to it. Check in, have a real somatic check in, my beautiful Aries energy, with what is really true, what is really going on, and what is ready to move. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. But take a minute to feel into your own physical space for the indicators of where these shifts are coming, okay? Now, on the 3rd, to get the month going, we are going to see Venus turning direct in the energy of Leo. So we've had Venus working in this 5th house of yours of play, of joy, children, taking a risk, things like that, since June 19th at 12 degrees of Leo. This is when we saw Venus start to slow down, kind of give you an indicator of what was going to be happening. And the real thing about Venus is not that Venus just turns retrograde. And so we're just evaluating the Venusian things, right? Partnership and finance. It's where we start to see we have gaps or holes in these areas of our life. So it's not about Venus's presence, it's about the lack of Venus being direct and present. So your attention was likely brought to, over these last weeks, where you wanted to fill in the gaps, things that were going on in relationship or finance, or what you have valued and the way you value it differently. You've been working on this. It has been nicely called to your consciousness since June 19th. Then we saw Venus actually take that retrograde July 22nd at 28 degrees. So again, go back to your chart, review between 28 degrees of Leo and 12 degrees of Leo, what has been going on for you. Now here on the 3rd, we see Venus coming out of retrograde again at that 12 degrees of Leo, but you know, I rock and roll with the whole cycle. So we're not officially done with this cycle until we get to October 7th, and we're going to see Venus in a delicious conversation with Chiron. So not only are you having these themes from 2015 get their healing from this particular cycle. They're getting their healing. And even if the healing is that today you can talk about things that happened in 2015, today you can talk through things in your relationship or your finances in ways that you couldn't before, the healing has begun. And that is something to be not only excited about, but deeply grateful, because a pathway has been made for you to see exactly where to go to have this wonderful, playful love, bring some relaxation, things changing for your children that could be in a very positive way, right? But they definitely would have been things that would have been a little bit challenging. So we start the cycle moving forward here as Venus comes direct on the 3rd, okay? Now, when you get to the 4th, we're going to see Jupiter taking a retrograde in the energy of Taurus at 15 degrees of Taurus. Now, we saw Jupiter come into its pre-retrograde shadow time in June. So on June 11th, 5 degrees of Taurus. So 5 degrees of your second house in the general. But of course, always grab your own chart. Where is 5 degrees? All the way to 15 degrees of Taurus, Aries, in your personal chart, okay? Now, in the general, we've been slowing down, having this expansion, having new information, new ideas, big purchases show up while Jupiter was in Taurus in your second house. And the cool thing to think about is that 12 years ago, you were here. You did something similar. There was a lot of learning that maybe came in. And I know sometimes we talk about Jupiter and it's like, oh, it's the planet of luck. It's a super benefic. Well, sometimes what's beneficial for you doesn't always taste good. Look at broccoli, okay? I know somebody loves broccoli, but listen, broccoli on its own to me is not tasty, but it is really very good for you, right? So sometimes Jupiter delivers these lessons like that, where it's, I'm going to show you a place where your philosophy, your idea, your faith, your belief structure is actually not strong enough. And so we're going to have a lesson of expansion around it. And it is of 2, second house, benefit to your finances, benefit to your self-worth and your self-esteem. You get to see that you are made of a little bit more, but now you have to act like it, right? Okay. So we've got Jupiter taking this retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus, going to back up to that 5 degrees of Taurus when it comes direct December 30th. But Jupiter doesn't actually leave the full retrograde path until March 23rd when it gets back to that 15 degrees of Taurus. So relook at your ideas, your philosophies, places where you've been too extravagant or too expanded in your spending or too expanded in your own self-worth, right? This can be another challenge with Jupiter and Taurus, is we think we're worth so much more than we're out there able to demand, right? So make sure you have your skills and your talents and all of these things under your belt. When we get to the 14th, we're going to see a new moon happening at 21 degrees of Virgo. Now, the Virgo energy, your 6th house, has been lit because we've also had Mercury retrograde here, right? We've done the long tour with Mercury in review here. So as we're at this new moon at 21 degrees of Virgo, it's your opportunity to, first of all, pull your attention into the center of, that third eye energy. Really get focused on it and plant your seeds of intention for what you would like to begin in your 6th house. We have been in Mercury retrograde, which is the ruling planet of Virgo. So your daily routines, your health, your wellness, your mental health and wellness, right? The way that you care for yourself, the way that you care for someone else. Maybe you're a caregiver or a caretaker. Maybe the way that you care for your animals, things happening with your animals. All of these things have been called to your attention. So as the new moon is happening here and it's in the dark, I want you to consider the ways that you can Virgo this. First of all, you can pluck out discernment, separate the wheat from the chaff. You know what I mean? What actually needs your attention, and where can you develop, enhance, just kind of tweak a little, maybe that diet, and the thing is you want to tweak these daily routines. You want to have these changes in these areas to make them the very best that they can be for you. Now, another area I really want to point out here is this is also a time with this new moon for you to get a real deep understanding of what you are good at in terms of the daily work that you do, because it's not that everything is going wrong. If you're looking at your life and you're getting the critical version of that Virgo energy, which is just nothing's going right, we're all screwed, all of this kind of stuff, that mind frame will create analysis paralysis. So Aries, what are you actually doing really well in your health, in your job, in your daily habits, in how you do mundane tasks? Where are you also doing well? Because we need to highlight and expand the way that you are succeeding in daily life as a bit of encouragement for you to continue to grow in this particular area, okay? Now on the 15th, we've got Mercury turning direct in that energy of Virgo. So now making some decisions around the 6th house where you've planted these seeds of intention to begin something with new levels of excellence in your life become a little bit easier. Now, Mercury comes direct here at that 8 degrees of Virgo, but we're not fully done until the end of the month when we get to September 30th and we see Mercury get back to the 21 degrees of Virgo, okay? So as this is happening though, you have genuinely been in the review time with Mercury here, your mind. And this is a real thing that I want you to think about when it comes to your health, your wellness, your daily routines, things like this, being an independent contractor or having your own business, or, maybe it's Virgo energy. Did you need to do something or adjust a daily routine for one of your pets or your animals, right? Whatever it is, you have been in the review bubble and getting your mind in alignment. The distance between the head and the heart, Aries, can be really far. So getting your head in alignment with some discipline that allows it to connect to the heart and create this communication that allows you to have this emotional and mental response to the way that you do this area of your life. This is where we have the impact to create change. So where have you seen that from the heart level, your body, your daily routine has been radiating with a need to improve in some way, and your head had you actually quite paralyzed or stalled and in a state of review? It was coming up, and now as Mercury is going to move forward in its path, the head and the heart align and you're able to make these changes, right? That's the deep somatic living of bringing the astrology to life in your body and in your space, okay? On the 23rd, we see the sun entering into the energy of Libra, so it's the time of year for you to work on these partnerships. Now, I will tell you, in the 7th house, these are conscious, chosen one-on-one relationships, and it's also the space of open enemies, which means you have a problem with that person, with that whatever, that court case, that there's an issue. But the place that I really want to, the word I really want to highlight for you is conscious, chosen one-on-one relationships. Think about that. So the place I start with that is the relationship of you with you. You are your first relationship. And how are you consciously choosing to engage with yourself in a one-on-one relationship, your spirit and your physical body? Your connection with divine energy that acts as like that charger, right? Like we got to plug into the divine energy to have enough energy to even be human. My goodness, trying to run on just a human battery is really exhausting. So what is your conscious chosen relationship with you? First of all, and if the relationship with you and you is sideways, it's very hard to expand out. We can only expand out what we've got when we start to bring other people into the relationship, right? So look at the relationship of you with whatever you call a divine energy, you with you, and then the relationships with other people, your partnerships, whether it's a business partnership, it's a friendship, it's the love of you and an animal, it's conscious chosen one-on-one, it's you with, a significant other or someone becoming a significant other in your life. While the sun is traveling through Libra, which it does every year. So I want you to back up to last year. What was going on in your partnerships? Have you seen growth? Is there a depth of connection? Does it look different? Is it falling apart sideways? What is going on in your relationships, because Libra is ruled by Venus, who's just come out of retrograde with taking a risk, living joyfully, having pleasure and value, and even an aesthetic, right? Because think about this, Aries, and when you evaluate the 7th house of your life from last year to this year, where has even your style changed, your physical aesthetic, your body changed because you value something differently? Where has the state of your physical body impacted your relationships, impacted the way you show up to make money, impacted your partnerships? This is a great time to look at that, because if this has changed, it will show up through your relationships. And when we are confident, when we are in alignment, even with the aesthetic areas, and we take a risk to be aware, we show up differently in our partnerships. So what does that look like from last year to this year? Other things that I want you to think about is Libra wants peace, wants balance, right? It wants peace, it wants balance. So if there have been psychological or spiritual, because Libra does work in the space of air, so it needs a lot of room to move. If there have been issues, the Venus retrograde would have likely highlighted these as well, and giving you a space to heal them, and giving you a space to understand that in some way you need the partnerships that are in your life to help you heal them. There is only so much you can heal on your own. We sometimes have to have a partnership of whatever the variety is come in and help us heal and help us expand where those challenges have been lit up for us, and to expand where we're really great, expand our love as well. So whatever you're doing this Libra season, I want you to remember, it really is about peace. It really is about strengthening peace and justice and finding the sweet middle ground that you can work from in a partnership. On the 29th, as we're going to close out this month, we are going to see a full moon happening, and it is in your sign. That is so beautiful. That is so delicious. And what a great way to end the month. Now, the full moon is asking us to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment. And it is highlighting the space between my needs and my wants, the me and the we, you and me. Like there's just this real dynamic of, I got to go my way versus I need to do this in terms of partnership. And we're looking, because this is an opposition going in two different directions, for the sweet spot in the middle of both of these things. We have to integrate the me and the we. But the first thing that has to happen, I think, at a full moon is we start to understand where we have put the Aries, you, your physical self, your physical identity, in some state of back shelf, right? Like, where have you lost the Aries portion? And it's having a revival at this full moon through honoring who you genuinely are. But also, I do think, Aries, at this particular full moon, at an emotional level, and over the next couple weeks, over the next 4 weeks, there can be a sense of grief that comes with this full moon as well, because it's like, in order for you to be and to have this revelation and presentation of the Aries that will move forward in this next 4 weeks, it does mean a shedding of an old version of you, right? And really blessing and honoring this new significant version of you that is arising and coming to be, coming out, and this version of you knows how to initiate, knows these leadership skills, is conscious of how to use your warrior or your sacred gardening energy to be courageous and to lead into a different direction. It is more confident in its autonomy and its independence. Therefore, it's also able, in honoring those pieces of you, to create a beautiful interdependence with where the Libra sun is at on the other side. And the interdependence is what we're looking at to strike that beautiful balance. I mean, it's an absolutely delicious energy. At one more level, I want to bring this to your attention at this full moon because we are going to eclipse in the Aries Libra axes, right? We've got the nodes traveling here. So this really is a call to you to realize where it is time to rise up, rise up, rise out. Let the new revelations, the new emotional awareness come to your consciousness and take you forward and take you out of places that you don't belong anymore and into the tribes and the spaces and the relationships that you do now. Because Aries, whatever it is, you've done a good job and you've likely done the best that you could. And now, beautiful Aries, the mission may be time to transition to something else. Aries, I think it's going to be a gorgeous month. Again, please check in with yourself, see where you're at as this eclipse energy starts to move, because it's going to ramp up and get a little bit louder, a little bit louder, a little bit louder as we push towards October. My beautiful Aries friends, have an absolutely gorgeous month. I love you a ton, and I look forward to seeing you and walking with you in October. And don't forget to check out your weekly videos every week where we're talking through the more major but minor aspects that are also happening in the cosmic sky that we don't cover in the monthly. And if you need a little bit of daily inspiration, you can always follow me on Instagram. I've got a daily transit post with guidance and information coming up, and I would love, love, love to have you there. All right, Aries, have a great month.